Marine researcher. Right?
Hey everybody, Rob Nelson here, and we've got Jonas. He's in town. I just wanted to welcome you all to one of our very few live streams that we do throughout the year. Jonas is actually here visiting for a week or so. We're filming Bugs and Hellbenders, and we've got a lot to talk about. And specifically, we're talking about everything that we would have told our younger selves, particularly in the world of documentary filmmaking, because that's what we do. And so we're going to get to those. So start with any questions that you might have over in the comment section. Definitely type them. We'll get to those. Until we get to those, though, we have a couple of things that we'd like to fill you in on. In particular, Jonas can maybe fill you in on where he's been for the last 2 months.
Yeah, sorry guys, I have been absent from the channel quite a bit, to the frustration of, I guess, both of us a little bit, because I've been really busy trying to edit up one of the documentaries that Rob and I have been working on for the last year and a half. It's a 1-hour documentary that's going to be premiering on September 26th up in La Crosse, Wisconsin. So if any of you guys happen to be in La Crosse or around La Crosse, Wisconsin, end of September.
September 25th.
25th?
Jonas is
26th.
Releasing
25th. 25th?
Yeah.
All right, 25th, 26th, that weekend. Give us a shout. Send us an email. Let us know if you want to come to the premiere. We would love to have you there. We'd love to chat with some of you, and we'll see what we can do to make that happen. We're not kind of in charge of the tickets and stuff, but it'd be fun to see if anyone wants to come. Anyways, that's what I've been doing, and the whole plan is that I am going to come back to the channel very soon. We've had a lot of chats about this, and it's definitely my time to start pulling my weight at some point, and I think it's going to have to be soon, even though I'm still stressing out big time. Anyway,
so we have a whole bunch of topics. Jonas is going to kind of bring up a topic, and then we're going to discuss it in relation to how we would have told our younger selves. Some of these things are things that we actually did well and might encourage ourselves to do more of, and some of them are going to be things that we wished we did slightly differently, and that's easy to see in retrospect. Sometimes, maybe not so easy to see in this changing climate, but it definitely gave us a lot of things that we often offer to younger audiences. So.
And before we start this off, just remember, we would love to hear from you as well. So please, if you're watching this, throw in your comments, just say hello. And if you have any questions, oh, hey, awesome, finally. And if you have any questions, also put them in. And if you have any comments to the topics that we have, put them in as well. Even if we don't read all of them, we're going to read them later, and we might compile a list. And it's actually really good for our records as well to have your thoughts on these topics. So first of all, let's just briefly talk about this medium. You know, online videos can be a little bit of a stressful medium in many ways. And we put out medium. We put a lot of love and effort into a lot of the stuff that we produce, not just for this channel, but for the other videos that we do as well, and put up on the other channel that we have. And I think if I was to talk to my younger self here a little bit, one of the things that I would
about YouTube,
about what we do, basically, about
things
working with this media, with videos online. In this environment, this online environment. I think one of the things that I would definitely bring up is that we cannot necessarily take for granted that things are going to take off automatically without a lot of hard work. There's a lot of hard work behind things taking off. And then also with that said, I was going to say, just because a channel doesn't take off, it doesn't necessarily mean that it hasn't had an impact. So I think, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, so this is definitely something I thought about. I actually made a video on, is it that you're a bad filmmaker because some of your things don't take off, or is there some other reason? I think that one of the things that I would tell myself is come up with a plan if you want to do online videos like YouTube. We started out doing iTunes podcasts, video podcasts, and we had a plan. We created 6 videos ahead of time, and then we released them 1 a week until it triggered the right algorithm on iTunes. We got featured on the homepage, and we were getting 70,000 views a day, basically, when we were releasing things, and it was fantastic. And that was a good plan at the time. And I think if we were to do that now on YouTube, you know, if I was to encourage somebody to come up with a plan, figure out how they're going to release things to trigger the algorithm. Sure.
And actually related to that, it's actually another, well, first of all, the impact aspect of things, I think, is if you were to talk to your younger self, and your younger self will say, in 6 months, all my videos are going to have 100,000 views or more. And then all of a sudden they don't. And you start feeling that you haven't had an impact with the work that you do. I think that's something that is really important to address as well, that impact can be a lot of different things. And it doesn't necessarily have to be just the numbers on the channel. It could also be a little bit unhealthy to just look at the numbers.
No, I think it definitely could be unhealthy to look at numbers. But I also think that a lot of people may come to this platform with false expectations, thinking that they may blow up, but not having a backup plan on the side that they could kind of resort to. So that's definitely something that I would encourage. Start slow, build up, and then, you know, go all in when you think you're ready to go all in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Also, keep putting in your comments on this as well. Oops, that's a bit unprofessional.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
My wife calling me unprofessional. Okay, go ahead.
Not turning off
Next
the phone.
one.
Okay, so well, I want to say related to this, because you were bringing up iTunes, and I think one of my other points was, you know, when we started, and for anyone starting right now too with YouTube is your primary medium, and you think that that's where things are going to go for the rest of your life. One of the things I want to say is just be prepared to always change with the medium, just evolve with the changing.
Well, the reason that's a good point, and I would recommend, by the way, GoPro's software for your question. I think that's important because when we started, iTunes was the platform. And then after that, it went online. A whole bunch of platforms popped up, YouTube, Blip, Rever. We ended up going with Blip because we thought that one was going to be the one, but it wasn't. And so we had to quickly change. And, you know, for instance, the social platform when I started things was MySpace. That's not even around anymore. So if you put all your eggs in one thing, sometimes that can be dangerous.
Yeah, and also when this happened, it also happened to be right at the time when we got a big gig, which meant that we kind of missed the transition quite a bit, and that really hurt us for a while.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
So that's one of the things that would be really good to talk if I got a chance to look back a few years and tell my younger self that something that you would definitely, it's really good to keep in the back of your head. If you're starting up right now, it's very important for you guys as well to keep in the back of your head that the medium might change. Just be prepared to evolve with it. And just some quick probably some best free software to edit your stuff with. You said GoPro?
I think the GoPro software is pretty good.
Yeah.
Free editing software.
Also, most computers come with a free editing software.
iMovie is great.
iMovie for Macs, what we use. So all of those programs are really good to start with. Learn those, and then work up a need for other things that you might want to do, and then figure out how you can get the next step up. I think that's a good one. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Luke.
Yeah.
Okay, next one.
Okay, next one. Okay. So, if you were to look back and talk to yourself when you were younger, would you say that it would have been better for you to put out more stuff, as in more frequently, or better stuff that you put more effort into, but less frequently?
So when we first started, we were putting things out once a week, but we couldn't sustain it at the quality level that we were putting it out at. And that's always something that I find difficult. I think that I think the balance is that you have to find a sustainable level that you can continually put stuff out at. Mm-hmm. So obviously better quality is always a little bit better, but if you can't maintain it and you're only putting one thing out a year, you know, or one thing out every 6 months, then I wouldn't recommend that. So you have to find out what your level of productivity is, and then stick to that. And
there's a balance here too. There's obviously a lot of stuff you got to balance in your life, like how much stuff you can actually produce, and how much time you can allocate for that. But yeah, like you say, one of the questions we just got here: did YouTube help your business or just give you guys more exposure? I think is related to this.
Exposure and business is kind of the same thing, wouldn't you say?
A little bit.
Originally we treated YouTube as like our marketing. Mm-hmm. Because we started to get a lot of people watching our stuff, which meant that then they were offering us jobs. And so now we put you know, I put at least 30 or 40% of my time into making videos on YouTube, even though I know they may not be paying for themselves. They're the marketing that I'm doing, and that returns on itself.
Oh, Luke, by the way, this you're not the only one on the stream. You might not see everyone else's comments, but there's definitely more on there. But it's good to have you here, man. Yeah, so that's a really interesting, good point, and I think yeah. So to be able to take off on YouTube, to make it actually the business, is definitely going to require some sacrifices and a lot of hard work. So just putting all eggs in the basket, thinking that you're going to start making loads of cash on YouTube right away, might not be the easiest thing to do.
No, but like definitely one thing I would find, or what I would say, is that I'd say 90% of the people that hire us found us online. So it was word of mouth, and then they look us up and they see that we have all of these different videos, and then they hire us because of that. If you don't do that, it's you maybe you do the film festival circuits, or you cold call, or you have somebody who's like, you know, working it up, or maybe eventually you get word of mouth calls. But I think YouTube is a fantastic way to essentially showcase your work, whether or not you kind of focus it as your main business or not. So
yeah,
that's my feel.
I want to take one question here too. Like Dino, you said that you want to start a channel, but you don't know what your topic should be or what you want to do the channel on. And then you're writing that you live in Isle of Skye. Holy crap. I was supposed to go there this summer, and I'm so damn jealous. You got so much cool stuff to shoot there. I've read up on it. How is it that you can't find something to shoot? Tell me that, first of all.
Well, so I think I've found that the more I travel, the more I see the cool things that are in my own place. So I definitely, I can see where you come from. I know when I left high school, I was from Texas, and I didn't see anything in Texas as interesting, but I found all the places I went to super cool. And so once I did a little bit of traveling, I realized there's a lot of stories back where I'm from. So that definitely helps. I also think that one of the things I've found is it's nice to find the need and then make a video to fill that. So early on, I was making people's birthday videos. Friends, just friends. I was making videos about the work that I did. So I was teaching people how to do the work I did better. And these sound really extremely boring, but it was like, they were videos that people liked watching. I also would make compilation videos of our sports games and show at the end of the year. People liked watching those, and they didn't have a huge venue, and they might not have taken off on anything. Well, we didn't have YouTube at the time, but you know, it was finding something with just even a small audience as practice. So that was really good.
And I know one thing that you've at least brought up in videos several times is the whole idea of just getting started, just pick up the camera and and start doing something.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important, because anything you do will be practice. Anything you do will give you more experience and lead you onto a path. And you probably find a topic that we won't focus on. So anything you do will at least be something, and that will take you further in your development. So yeah. You have any?
Thanks for commenting, everybody. This is nice to hear everybody piping in.
Sorry, my list of here we go. Okay. One other thing that I would tell myself is, okay, so just give you a little bit of a background. When we started this, we started with doing expeditions together, and we spent a lot of time outdoors. Pretty soon you realize, you know, first of all, because that's what we love to do. Like that was our background. Still love to do that. But one of the things that I probably should remind myself, if I got a chance to talk to my younger self, is that I would spend a lot more time in front of the computer than I first thought I would. Like there's a lot of time behind the computer as well, you know, doing the work that we do. But
what percentage would you say? Because I get clients ask me that all the time, or just people interested. They'll say, how much time do you spend editing versus shooting when you do a doc?
So we've talked about how quickly we can whip up a video for a client. And I'm thinking, if we say we do a 5-minute video and do over a week, say we were to spend 5 days doing a video, I think I would say 1 day would be research and writing it up. 1 or 2 days would be shooting it, and then 2 days of editing it. And so
oh, that's pretty good.
I mean,
I actually think it's more like 3 to 4 hours shooting it,
Oh, even that.
Well, when you do a 5-minute,
I guess,
just
but
a quickie.
after 4 hours of shooting, you're so exhausted that that's going to be a whole day. Just,
well, it ends up, yeah, but like in theory, you only need 3 or 4 hours on location.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think the ratio, like for instance, when we did this driftless doc, we essentially spent 3 or 4 weeks in the field, and we've spent what now 70 weeks editing it up, roughly.
That's gonna sound so terrible.
That doesn't sound terrible. You started in April of last year, more or less.
You make me look bad. Yeah. I've had issues too. Don't get me started talking about editing software.
Oh, this is a good one. Luke asks, do you ever get creative block?
Creative block.
In other words, do you feel uninspired maybe?
Oh, hell yeah. Someone asked that?
Yeah. Luke.
Yes. Absolutely.
And how do you deal with it?
We talked about this also yesterday. Like sometimes I can get stuck on a problem. Say you're trying to write up a narration, but you just cannot get it to flow right, or there's just something that you can't get to you can't figure it out. One of the things that works a lot for me for those like short, simple blocks is to just drop everything, go out, get on my bike, go for a run, leave the work for a while, and a lot of times I have figured out my issue just 5 minutes down the road on my bicycle.
Yeah. I think this kind of brings up something I've thought a little bit about and recently had verbalized really well to me, is that, oftentimes when we go through this creative process, it's not about ticking things off of a to-do list. I mean, that's actually a lot easier of a job. Here, you almost feel like first you have to wait for that inspiration, and that inspiration leads you to being motivated. And that motivation leads to an action where you're like, you start on a task. So it's kind of a loop, right? And doing that action then creates more, you're more inspired and stuff. And so I think you can actually, like, you don't have to start with waiting to be inspired for something to then get motivated and then do an action. You can actually just start with an action. Like, for instance, for me, for many of the days of this year, I said, you know what, I'm just going to start and edit one picture every day and put it up on my Instagram account. And the mere act of starting into that kind of created that whole loop. Like at the beginning of the day, I was not motivated to do anything, but I was like, I got to tick this off at the very beginning. And then once I started getting into it, it actually started the whole loop. I mean, it's nice to, like Jonas said, have been rested and worked out and stuff. But to me, it kind of, you can start with that. The person that described it to me was a really successful author, and they said that for them, they start with writing 70 crappy words a day, and the mere act of just getting out and start it, like putting them down on the page, knowing that it might not be the most amazing, but you're just going to put them down. And the mere act of doing that actually gets you motivated, and you start doing it.
So that's an interesting advice. Yeah, it's pretty good. What about Rob? Let's touch on some broad topics here. Working with clients.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, and before we do this, I know there's a lot of questions coming in, and we're gonna answer some of them. Might not answer all of them now, but we're gonna try.
Right after this, we'll dive into questions.
Working with clients.
Working with clients.
Okay. Clients and audiences.
Clients. Okay, clients first. This is what I think. As you go through this, it's all about the clients, and clients are people. And just remember that. It's just like you work on a relationship with different individuals. Working with a client is working on a relationship. That's the first thing. And they're people, right? So, but I also think that early on, one of the things that we did is we kind of trusted a lot of our financial future in a very few number of clients. So we'd have 1 or 2 clients. And that actually ended up being kind of bad, because if that client, say, has a company restructure, or the main contact person we had with the company changed, which happened often, say it happened with the Pearson Publishing, who we were working with, then all of a sudden we're out of a job. And that could be like, we had 12 employees at one point, and all of a sudden it was down to Jonas and I trying to figure out what we were going to do next.
Yeah.
So diversification of clients is actually a really wise move in this field.
And also maintain, like you said, maintain the clients.
Yeah, if you get a good one, keep up with them, and then like remember and reach out to them just like you do in a relationship.
We have, you might have seen that in a couple of our videos, that we've been working at some of the film festivals as well, and it's basically a week of meet and greet and just trying to, I don't know, smooth talk with all kinds of people, and it's really fun. First of all, you meet a lot of people in the industry, and then also it's just like you get a name and you chat for someone for 10 minutes, and then you write something down, and then I just value those contacts and start sending out threads and like, you know, it's like you're sending out little hooks everywhere.
Well, and it's interesting, you probably would agree, a lot of the people we're getting jobs with now, for instance, I'm chatting with somebody who I'll probably do a few videos for. I met them in 2007. It was a long time back. Let's get to one of these, one of the questions. Let's see. Okay, Justin, you asked if we ever give advice and watch people's film projects. We definitely do. We enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
I will say that one of the ways we interact a lot with the people from the channel, and actually have a little bit more time to do that, is through our Patreon page. So that's one thing we do.
Yeah.
But definitely send us a link or something. That'd be awesome. It's hard at times when we're out in the field to keep track of all the YouTube comments. That's why I suggested the Patreon things. We keep track of it a little bit better.
That there's a lot of more face-to-face interaction there. That's true as well.
Yeah, and we do these live things all the time there.
More often, and more personal questions. But that's what else? Did you see any other questions? Which one?
Sasha asked, what got you into photography?
Yeah. Was it a career? Actually, it was more of a passion than a career initially.
Well, both of us started out as biologists.
Yeah. So no, not a career. It was a side. Side. What do you like? It's a.
We were doing it for other scientists.
Yeah.
Because we enjoyed doing it.
Yeah.
And then actually we realized that there was a need for it, so we found that niche.
Yeah.
That's the way I describe it to people.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, it's always started with kind of, you know, everyone has a little bit of an artsy passion on the side.
Right.
Yeah. This was it.
Here, Luke has
okay.
a question.
You have to read it. Yeah, okay. Read it up.
Okay, I'll read it.
Yeah.
Luke says, would you say that when you have an ongoing series that you film with a client, it will go on for a long time?
Ooh.
What would you say?
Very much depend. I can't give a quick answer to that. Obviously, a lot of times we try to build a long-lasting relationship with the client. That's ideal. If that's possible, definitely go for it, because it's security is always good in many ways.
Well, so this is one thing that I think is also important. One of my professors in film school said, you're only as good as your last film.
Yeah.
Which is tricky, because that puts a lot of pressure on you at times. But it's the same when you're working with a client. So he made that in reference to doing TV work. If you put out a really crappy doc, or you shoot, you're a camera person, you film a really crappy doc, people are going to look at your last project and see that. In our case, if we're working with a client, say doing instructional videos or science videos, and we put out a crappy one, that could be really bad. Because the last people that see that are going to decide whether or not they move forward. So that kind of relates to the building a relationship, is you gotta stay in touch with people, but also produce good stuff, and make the next one always a little bit better.
And I want to just throw out too, related to that, and also related to working with clients. If you put out a video that you don't think is crappy, but your client doesn't like, it gets you in a little bit of an interesting spot. So you kind of have to reevaluate first of all, how many times you're willing to sort of go back and forth on corrections and stuff. And a lot of times when you are working for a client, you will, to a certain extent, have to swallow your pride and make the corrections to the point where the client is happy, or that relationship might not continue very long.
Right.
But at the same time, I have one of the recommendations that I would tell my younger self, but then also I feel that we have done pretty well throughout this years, and that is, don't ever get cocky and treat people bad along the way. Like, if you have a bad relationship, don't talk bad about anyone in the industry. It's not going to be worth it, and it might be harmful to your future as well.
And I would say that's not necessarily something we did, but we've definitely worked with people who had that mentality, and it actually really turned us off to wanting to work with those people again, because even though in front of us they're not talking bad about us, you knew that later on they probably were going to start talking bad about somebody, and that's kind of a life lesson.
It's just not a good strategy for what we do here. It's you guys,
and a big part of it is you want to work with people you like and are happy and positive, because it's hard on film shoots. So
yeah, when you're out in the shoot and you are not a one-man band, you're actually working with other people, you are definitely, a lot of times there's a lot of stress involved, and a lot of times when that stress builds up, it brings out bad sides in people, and that those times it's really important that you can handle it, or the whole shoot's gonna go south.
Yeah. Let's quickly talk about audience.
Okay.
What did you learn? What have you learned about working with an audience? We have an audience here.
I do want you to start this one.
You want me to start?
Yeah, I do want you to start this one, actually.
Okay, I'll start this one. So let me just start with a little bit on my background on this. Early on, we actually did have an iTunes podcast, and we had a lot of people on it, and we're watching it. But here's the problem. It gave us no way to interact with an audience. So we had a lot of fans, a lot of people watching the videos, but we had no way of keeping in touch with them other than that one platform, which may or may not continue. So we also, because of that, because we weren't interacting, we weren't listening to the people. So that's why we like doing some of these live things every once in a while. But I wasn't able to engage with the audience. I wasn't creating an email list. I wasn't getting people on our feed. I wasn't even interacting with the people who liked our stuff the most. And that was a problem, because over time, as we got different gigs and maybe got busy, we lost track of them. And that was really unfortunate, because they were some of the best people that we should have engaged with. And that's one thing we're fixing, I think, chatting more. But
just so you know, we really enjoy this part. Both Rob and I have and still work a lot as educators as well, partly because we like the idea of the two-way communication, and also, trying to help out if we can.
Right.
So
thank God for YouTube Live.
Yeah. Right. Thanks, Luke. Thanks.
We should probably wrap up, though, because we don't want to go on too long. We want to keep this fairly short. And is there anything else you want to wrap up with?
I do want to say that we do a lot of these. First of all, if you like what we have here with the Skype, it's not Skype live communication thing, just actually let us know, because we would not mind doing it more, but we just want to make sure that it's useful. And also, if we don't do it almost, we pretty much never do it. I think it's our second one, but we do enjoy it, and we do more live ones on Patreon. Exactly. So we do a lot more of it on the Patreon page, and it's not that we're trying to just lure you guys into the Patreon as much, but we do want to have to throw it out, because it is part of what we keeps us going as well. It allows us to interact more with people and give them feedback and stuff. But just being here is actually is all we ask for. That's amazing. Absolutely. Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And this is also because we've been shooting all week, and so we thought we'd do a live one today, because we don't have any video to release tomorrow. We always release on Tuesdays. But we've been shooting Bugs from Thursday through yesterday. We got back. We were shooting Hellbenders all day today. We literally just got out of the river. Yeah. And honestly, so we had our ETA on Google Maps, and it was going to be 7 o'clock on the minute, and then we had to take a detour on the highway because of road construction. So this was a little bit. We literally spent the whole day in the river looking for Hellbenders. Should we tell them if we found it or not? We wait. Okay. Well, these guys are here. Well, we found one. We found one. Hellbenders are one of the largest salamanders in the world. We had an awesome day. We spent the whole day in the rivers up in the mountains here, and it was awesome fun. I wish you could all see it. Well, that's the point. We're gonna release you soon. Okay, let's wrap this up. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Again, keep sending us emails, comments. Thanks everyone for being here, and all right, we'll see you next Tuesday.